Hi, I'm Dr. Patrick Jones from the Homegrown Herbalist School of Botanical Medicine. And I don't know if you've noticed, but the big yellow thing up in the sky has been hanging around longer and longer every day. And it's exciting. It means spring is here, right? And to celebrate that, all the flowers are springing out of the ground and the grasses are springing out of the ground. And they're so happy and so excited, and they see all these other beautiful, really good looking flowers, and they want to make baby flowers. And so they fill the air with beautiful golden pollen. And next thing you know, we're all sneezing our brains out, right? Because springtime is also prime time for allergies. What happens is that the pollen gets in our nose, and I don't know what's wrong with noses. They're so stuffy sometimes. They don't want to associate with anybody. And the pollen gets in there, and they get irritated, and they have an allergic reaction, right? And so an allergic reaction is caused by the immune system. The immune system is full of white blood cells, and they're just like this ultra police force, and they cruise around the body all the time, checking surface antigens and other markers that are identifying to see who belongs in this body and who doesn't, right? Show me your papers. Are you really part of this guy's body, or are you a foreign invader, right? And if you're a foreign invader, you're going to get whacked with a stick or eaten, or something bad's going to happen. And the way they do that, with allergies at least, is largely due to the function of mast cells. Okay, so this is a mast cell. And mast cells are cells that respond to allergic stimuli. Okay, they respond to substances that we're allergic to. So the white blood cells go out there and they identify all these bad things. Like we got pine tree pollen, and we got daisy pollen, for heaven's sakes, and we've got pollen from roses and pollen from grass and pollen from whatever. It doesn't matter. They identify that as a foreign invader. They get upset about it, and they make antibodies to it. All right. And those antibodies then bind to that antigen. You know, the antigen is the foreign substance. It could be a bacterium, could be a virus, could be pollen, right? Could be your sister-in-law's perfume, whatever you're allergic to, right? And so the mast cells have on their surface special receptors that, if you see these little dots here, these are receptors that the antibodies, and here's an antibody that's stuck to that receptor. See what I mean? So the antibodies, the mast cells collect antibodies. And then when an antigen, like a piece of pollen, connects to that antibody, it triggers that little receptor and causes the degranulation of these green granules that are full of histamine. Okay. And so the antibody hooks to the antigen, and that makes it wiggle just right, and the receptor's stimulated, the granules break, they degranulate, and now we're full of histamines. Okay. And the histamines are the chemicals that are designed really to drive things out of our body. Okay. And so what are they going to do? Well, we don't want that stuff in our nose. So we're going to sneeze, and we're going to make the nose run, and we're going to get the eyes water, and we're going to cough and bawl and sneeze and wheeze and get that stuff out of here, right? That's the function of a histamine. And so that makes allergies pretty miserable, doesn't it? But it's also protective for a lot of important things. It's not like we don't want these guys, but sometimes they get a little over the top, and sometimes we get allergic to things that it's silly to be allergic to. Right? What's the point of being allergic to pine pollen? It's not going to hurt us, right? Why are we having an immune response to that? Sometimes we get allergic to ourselves and have autoimmune disease. That's a whole other topic. If you want to learn about that for hours and hours, join us at the Homegrown Herbalist School. We have all kinds of lessons on that. How to deal with it, how to resolve issues, how to help the body quit being silly about itself. But for allergies, there's also some tremendous tools. One of those tools is brigham tea. And brigham tea is a plant that's common in the sort of the desert southwest of the United States, North America. It's in the ephedra genus, and there's ephedras on some other continents. But our local ephedras here in the western United States are Ephedra viridis, Ephedra nivedensis. There's several others, and I've used several species, and they all seem to do very well. Brigham tea has some really good decongestant, bronchodilating, anti-allergy properties. It just opens things up, it gets things moving again, clears up the symptoms of the allergies. So it opens up the tissues of the lungs, it opens up the sinuses, and it also has some good anti-inflammatory effects, direct anti-inflammatory effects through other means on those same tissues, those mucous membranes. It also has some sort of mild stimulating effects, so it's a nice way to get past 3 p.m. without a Mountain Dew, so that's good. It's a tremendous source of nutrients. It's got tons of minerals in it, lots of calcium, more calcium than any other plant. Well, any other plant that won't kill you. I think foxglove has more calcium, but this is a really good one for calcium too. But mostly I use it for allergies. People that'll take a cup of Brigham tea twice a day during allergy season take way less allergy medicine than people that don't. Okay, it works really well. Another plant, and this is a really cute one, this is eyebright, right? Euphrasia officinalis. And eyebright is also got some really important chemistry in it. It's got some iridoid glycosides, some flavonoids. And what does that even mean? Well, those are chemicals, phytochemicals, that have some antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties. Okay, they decrease inflammation generally. They decrease inflammation specifically in irritated tissues from allergies. They have some antihistamine properties also, so that's good. Just a really good plant for allergies. Nettles is also good. Nettles is just a rock star for allergies. So what does nettles do? Well, nettles interferes with histamine production, right? So she comes in and talks to the mast cells like, guys, don't get out of control here. Don't be silly. We don't need to make that much histamine, right? It's just pollen. Also interferes with histamine release. So, no, don't let that much go. Stop. That's enough. Let's not release it. Let's not make so much. And certainly let's not release so much, right? Because that would be not good. And as long as she's being amazing at those two things, she also interferes with histamine attaching to tissues so that they have a fit and start running and wheezing and tearing and having a sneezing, right? And so histamine really is a remarkable, nettles really is a remarkable antihistamine plant. And when I say nettles, I mean stinging nettle. Okay, so be careful when you're harvesting it, because that's irritating too. But once you dry it, or make a tea, or make a tincture, all this stingy stuff is gone. All right, it's not an issue after that. Yeah, it's got specific antihistamine properties. It also has some anti-inflammatory properties in general. So another really great plant. Let's look at one more. This is Oregon grape. Okay, Mahonia repens. This is also a plant that's common in the western United States. And it's sort of a low-growing plant. It sort of looks like holly if we lived further east, right? But holly doesn't live where we are, and this doesn't live where the holly is. So it's not like you're going to mix them up. Plus, holly has red berries, and this has blueberries. So that's different. But, and holly's big. Holly's like a big shrubby tree almost. This guy's not. There are some species, Mahonia aquifolia, which is a cousin that works just as well. That's often used as an ornamental shrub. It'll get big and shrubby, but it's not like a holly plant. Anyway, so why is this one good? Well, it contains a chemical called berberine, and berberine is also inhibits the release of histamines. Okay, so it tells mast cells to not release the histamine. Nothing happening here, no reason to get all excited, right? It's also a good antioxidant. The root's the medicine, by the way. And it has some good anti-inflammatory properties. It has some immunomodulatory effects, so it just kind of organizes and settles the immune system a little bit generally. Everything's a little haywire here. Let's settle in, folks. And supports normal immune function and sort of discourages abnormal, eccentric immune function, which is what an allergy is. Okay. And as if that wasn't enough, the other really cool thing about Oregon grape is that it's a cholagogue, of course, right? You knew that. What the heck's a cholagogue? I mean, don't you love herbalists and their funky words? A cholagogue is the funky herbalist word for a plant that stimulates liver function. All right. And so why does that matter? Well, that matters because histamine is eliminated and removed from the body by the liver. Okay. And so if your mast cells dump a lot of histamines, you don't want that there all the time, right? You want it to do its thing and go away. The liver's the guy that makes it go away. Okay, so Oregon grape and any of the other cholagogues can be a good adjunct, a good partner with antihistamine herbs that are more specifically antihistamine, like nettles, like brigham tea, like eyebright, to get the whole package. We're decreasing production, we're decreasing release, we're decreasing histamines attaching to the tissues once they are released, and we're getting rid of the stuff faster with the liver. Okay, and so that's sort of a nice formula for decreasing allergy symptoms. And coincidentally, we happen to have little brown bottles that have all 4 of those plants in it. If you want some of that, homegrownherbalist.com can help you out. But plants really can help us to decrease allergy symptoms. People have been using plants for this for thousands of years. Okay, they work really well. And they don't have some of the effects, the side effects that some of the medications have. You take some of the medications for allergies and you feel dumpy and drowsy and, lousy. You take brigham tea and you feel like better. You feel more energy. It's a stimulant in a nice way, not in a caffeinated up and then crash down way, but in a very nice, pleasant, stimulating, energizing way that, like I said, can get you through the late afternoon without something stronger. Anyway, some great plants for allergies. If you'd like to learn more about allergies and autoimmune disease and your immune system, there are hours and hours of great classes, great presentations on all those topics. We talk about leaky gut, we talk about allergies, we talk about autoimmune disease, we talk about other problems with the immune system, how to make it work better and stronger for if you're fighting a virus or you're fighting a bacterium or you're fighting something else. We get into a lot of information on the immune system. There's lots of lessons on that in the Homegrown Herbal School of Botanical Medicine. So if you'd like to learn more about it, I know a guy that can help you out. Just go to homegrownherbalist.com, and we'd love to have you. Love to join you on that journey. I'm Doc Jones. If you enjoyed the video, click the little like button down there and click the subscribe button and share it with your friends, will you? I really appreciate you taking the time to learn some things about plants, learn some things about how people's lives can be better with stuff growing in the vacant lot next door, And if you think other folks ought to learn some of those things, we appreciate it if you'd share this information. I'm Dr. Patrick Jones from the Homegrown Herbalist School of Botanical Medicine. Thanks for listening and have a great day.